Airport 1989. There's a movie Airport with a lot of stars waiting. I think it's there's also Richard Burton, maybe his wife. I don't know if at the time they were together, divorced, or not yet married. Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor, maybe. Um, anyway, Airport 1989 is a different story. I mentioned yesterday I came from Buena Brush with a young man, an English delegate, waiting for a group of children to take them to the mountains for a skiing holiday of maybe a week or so. So, as we waited in the airport, it was 16th or 17th, the day the earth stood still, the day they closed the border. It might have been the 17th, I think on the 16th. Termină că te ud unde e apa aia. Termină. He never stops. When he stops with that, he continues if I don't take action and screams until I die here. And then you're deprived of 1 million viewers of such a great story. Okay. So let's move on. It's good we don't have an audience at all. So we can do such things. Stop in the middle of the film and do housekeeping. Okay, we won't get in the crossfire. I mean, how can you do that, you idiot, you motherfucker? We don't get anything. It's perfect. It's the candid Panglossian view, which I like. All is for the best in the best of possible worlds. Okay, so far so good. But I lost my thread. So we were waiting. And I said on the 16th, I'm pretty sure they started in Timișoara, they continued on the 17th, and as more people demonstrated, and it was clearly they had a crisis on their hands, and then they came up with the conclusion, not the false story, the false story that agenturile străine, something, foreign agents were causing trouble. KGB, CIA, together, incredibly. They closed the border. And as they did so, we were on the airport. I also mentioned yesterday we had no idea. In Bucharest, I would get some information, MS information. I refer to the joke with the white Dacia and the black bicycle. So we didn't know. But we were told at one point, without background information, without reasons, that there's a problem, that no visitors, no clients would come in. And in consequence, all the guides, all the people waiting for someone were gone. With two exceptions. Yours truly and the guy, let's call him Manasseh. No, not Manasseh. Manasseh is somehow a name I remember. He's a driver I would work with later, and maybe I mention him. I'm not sure. His is a supporting role, but however, let's leave that name aside. Matei. I don't have a Matei in mind for other roles, so Matei, let's say Matei. For the purpose of this first part of this episode today. Matei had someone still, maybe. Well, he was there just in case. I'm not sure about his status. Mine was clear because my group landed, and not just landed, they crossed the border while it was open. I mean, past the first line or something. and couldn't get beyond the second. Hence, they were caught in no man's land, in a section of the airport which is not yet uh, on our side, and still evidently not in their country. And so I had to be there to see what happens. Maybe they let them in. And we stayed for quite some hours until, that's also something I remember, not in all the details, but as an incident, as something funny to some point. Also grim in that it was a hypothesis, it was a possibility we could explore. So at one point, talking and saying, we don't know what happened and what a porcaria, what a fucked up situation and so on. And then all of a sudden, we were sitting at a table, probably having some coffee or something, or nothing. We didn't have a budget for anything at that point, maybe. As in, it's not anticipated, and I don't know. It's a detail anyway. So he stands up from the chair, and he says, "I'm going." And when asked what happens and why, and he says, "Well, is it evasive? I think I'm going," because he's very worried that on the airport you're under surveillance. Anything and everything you say is noted, is observed, and then you have to answer for it. It's the communist days, okay? I think North Korea. So, the lover of the very stable genius, by the way, he said that's the idiot in charge of what used to be the greatest democracy in the world, said we met and it was love. He loves tyrants, he doesn't love allies, and thinks of American, that's the news of the recent days, American war heroes are losers and suckers. He said that about John McCain. He doesn't think he's a hero because he was captured. He likes people who are not captured. And then tens of millions of people will vote for him. And we live in an age of advanced democracies, in conclusion. So, finally, eventually, he does mention in a whisper or in a corner or somehow, "I know what's going on." I realized, what is going on? It's a bomb. So he thought he has to leave because he among the options. Why did they stop? Well, because Ceausescu is crazy, that's one thing. Second, because he's very crazy. Well, and then eventually, what if it's a bomb? Well, if it's a bomb, you evacuate people, but not. On the other hand, not in a communist regime, not in Ceausescu dictatorship, tyranny. There, you might gather people in to set off a bomb because you have something in mind and you don't care. Anyway, it's better to have, I don't know, 500 people less to feed. Anyway, so think also Pol Pot, Cambodia, Khmer Rouge. They massacred, I don't know, half the people. Anyway, so they don't think in human terms. Think also the idiot Trump. He's not concerned of the pandemic, of the nearly 200,000 dead. They say 410,000 by 1st of January 2021. No, don't wear a mask. He's mocking Biden for wearing a mask. He's something else. He's a monster. And a very stable genius. And voted by 60 million cult members that identify with this type of behavior. So, there you go. Okay. So Matei wanted to leave, did leave. I don't know. I made contact. At one point, they came to me and said, "Your group is on the other side." And one of the Securitate people there, Captain Connell, fuck him anyway, a motherfucker who's maybe rich, maybe he has a swimming pool in this neighborhood, this gated community with motherfuckers important or thinking they're important. It's true at one point, number three in the state here. Let's not get into that now. Maybe we get to the point where I analyze that, as in the comedy with De Niro and Billy Crystal. By that I mean what happens here. Maybe we reach present day stories. Ești nebun? If these killers don't finish me off before then. By these, I mean those two, especially the yellow one. Hey, blue and gold macaw. So one of those Securitate KGB, local KGB, said something like, "You make them stop the fuss, okay? That's why the state gave you a mouth or something." Reminding me of the encounter, which is 37 episodes ago, or maybe 49 or 102, with that guy in Pietronemts, who, when I went to the reception and tell them there is not hot water, or the toilet is not working, or there is no toilet paper, or some other problem, the next morning they sent me another Securitate call now. So that he scares me, and I don't mention this in Bucharest. I don't say that this hotel is not good to receive foreigners, to intimidate me, because they're idiots and they just love to scare you. And it was fun. It was the way they started the morning. Who knows? So this was serious though, because what happened, there were children, and children who were off the normal program. They couldn't be told, well, you behave, you do what must be done, what you should do, because that was not what was happening. They were off schedule. They were caught in no man's land and not allowed to get into the country, not allowed to get back. So how can you say about the rules when the most important one, following the program, getting to eat and getting to bed? Well, I'm sure they gave them something to eat by the time I made contact, sandwiches, and I don't remember about that. I know I had to tell them I don't know what's going on, because I didn't. And finally, interesting and showing the skill and professionalism of the British diplomatic service. By the way, I was fond of the British. I still am. I at that time, how old was I? I was 25, and for about 5-6 years, I had been a member of the library. This is where I went to read my information, The Economist, listen to tapes, watch movies, got acquainted with Monty Python and so much of the British cinema, comedy, you name it. Improved my English to a level. That is, if I'm not really declining now. I mean, I had not had the chance to talk to people in English for a long, long time. And the last time this happened was, well, once in a while it happens in the sauna, but in terms of serious of working, that's really, oh, about 2 decades ago. I think I stopped the continuing use of the British language in communication. That's just, I mean, also maybe that's part of the point. I will forget talking if I weren't doing this. Okay, we have to close for today and come back tomorrow with a British embassy coming to the airport. I mean, some of their officials, one or two, maybe three, had learned about this group being there. In fact, it was also mentioned in the news at Free Europe, then maybe taken by the BBC, Voice of America. And they said Ceausescu had closed the borders, and a group of British children is caught there without being allowed in and without having the possibility to return. Not in prison, but still sort of prisoners. I will say what happens with them tomorrow.